I'm Rupert Hargreaves, the managing editor of City AM, and today we are at City Week when we're talking about AI and digital payments and everything in between. I'm sitting here with Victoria Cleland, Chief Executive of Payments and Chief Cashier. Is that correct?
Sounds good.
At the Bank of England.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. So I wanted to start with just a brief overview of what your role actually entails and how does that work and help the economy function?
Yeah, the sort of two elements of my role and bringing them together, it's essentially fulfilling the Bank of England's remit in relation to payments, both electronic payments, but also cash. So as Chief Cashier, I'm responsible for the distribution of design of Bank of England banknotes, and as Executive Director for payments, my team run the real-time gross settlement system, which supports CHAPS and also supports all the retail systems. About 800 billion a day goes through RTGS, so it's absolutely at the heart of the financial system.
That is a lot of money and
it's a big number.
It's integral to the functioning of the economy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, payments are the lifeblood of the economy. Sometimes people think, oh, well, payment systems, that's just to do with the payment industry. Actually, every single person is reliant on the payment systems. It is the heart of what we do. It is so tangible. It's key for retail payments, the financial markets, cross-border payments.
You recently did an upgrade to this system.
That's right. We have recently finished a new programme to renew the RTGS system, which was a piece of collaboration with industry over a number of years. We started by saying to the industry, what would you like the new system to be able to do? And so we sort of set four objectives. One was around enhancing resilience, something central banks love.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to think about competition and innovation. So in addition to the resilience piece, we were broadening access to enable more players and different types of players, for example, non-bank payment service providers, to join the system. We wanted to increase user functionality, so we've introduced some APIs, enhanced liquidity saving mechanisms, and also to increase interoperability, either with systems domestically or cross-border. And as part of that, we introduced ISO 20022 messaging, which is a different language for payments to talk in, but it means that payments in different countries are speaking the same language and using more data, which means that for the banks and financial institutions, they can learn more about their customers. It enhances straight-through processing. That's a snapshot of what we've been trying to do.
Yeah, with that much money at stake and that much critical infrastructure, how do you even start overhauling a system like that? You said multiple years. Where do you begin?
So the starting point was really, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
And so consulted with industry. And then you're right, you need to think, what is a safe way to do this? Because the real-time gross settlement system is a sort of the core ledger. It's essentially saying whose money is where. You can't do it incrementally. All the money's got to be on one ledger. So we knew it had to be a big bang, which meant that when we were approaching it, we were saying, are there different pieces we can do first? So we decided actually we'll do the ISO migration, so the messaging first, to get that piece done. And there was a lot of work there for industry, who were fantastic in being ready. And then the next bit was the core settlement engine. I always call it the beating heart of RTGS, which is where we were, literally transplanting something new in. So working really carefully with the suppliers, working with industry, lots of testing, getting advice from National Cybersecurity Centre in terms of the cyber resilience. So bringing some experts in to make sure that we were doing the right thing with this absolutely core piece of national infrastructure.
You have to do that in one go.
So we split it into two key transition states. One was we called TS 2.1, transition state 2.1, Buzzy, which was around ISO 20022 messaging. And then the main switch over, it was in one go. Over.
Must have been a really stressful day, week.
It was actually remarkably calm.
Okay.
The team had done so much preparation. We'd had a number of dress rehearsals, sometimes just within the bank, sometimes working with industry, because it's absolutely key that the participants could connect to the system. That by the time we got to the cutover weekend, so the work began in anger at about 9 o'clock on the Friday night. And then we made the decision on the Saturday evening, and it was remarkably calm, just because it was so tried and tested.
Went without a hitch?
Yeah, it was.
Well, that's good to hear.
It was Yeah,
How
it was
often-
more than I could ever have dreamt of that weekend.
Okay, that's great. How often would you do something like that?
Not every day, thank you.
Yeah.
The system that we've just retired was 29 years old,
Okay.
so this was a big change. But what we want to do going forward is to have much more incremental change. So the way that new system has been built is with a modular architecture, which means it's easier to switch pieces in and out.
Mhm.
And also we built it as a really solid platform that we can make changes to and add new functionality. So, for example, at the moment, the system is open 12 hours, 5 days a week. We have built in the capacity and the capability that we could open near 24/7 at the point that industry wants to do that. We've built in capacity for a lot more players than we've got, like multiple times. And we've also been thinking about how we would enable players using new technology, for example, distributed ledger technology, to connect to RT. So we've tried to future-proof it in that way.
That's something I was going to ask about is the future of digital payments and future-proofing things. And it seems like you're already thinking 5-10 steps ahead for how you can build the system out.
Yeah, very much so. One of the things that I'm going to talk about a bit later at City Week is something called synchronization, which would enable us to link our RTGS system, so central bank money, ultimate risk-free asset, to another ledger. It could, for example, be housing estate ledger, it could be another RTGS system, to enable the transaction to take place all in one go. And so that is making a big change. So, for example, if you wanted to buy a house, your solicitor could actually make one instruction and the money would move from your account, and at the same time, the land registry would be updated. That's what we're trying to do. So using sort of technology to sort of apply to real life use cases.
So that would strip out all of the parties in the middle and just make it all streamlined.
That's the idea, to make it
purely from the Bank of England's point of view. Like that's there would be no one else involved, and it would be just make everything so seamless. And
we'd be working with a sort of group of organisations we call synchronisation operators. So we'd have our system here, you'd have the other ledgers there, and the synchronisation operator would sort of arc between the two, almost like a pipe. We would be enabling that. We'd be thinking about who the synchronisation operators were. So that's sort of one of the ideas that we're working on at the moment, but we're also trying to think, well, what next? And we're going to start some wholesale experiments and things.
Well, talking of what next, what's your most exciting thing you're looking forward to in the world of payments?
I think it's really seeing industry make more use of the system that we've just built. So there's a lot of work that went into it for industry as well. It's been going 2 months now, and I think we're seeing a big uptick in the sort of use of the APIs on the system. I want industry to use ISO more, and then I think if we get synchronisation up and running in live, that will be really transformational.
It'll be really exciting. All right, well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.